Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are. I've got a kind of a concerning article that just released on RT a little bit ago. And it's just something I think we might want to pay attention to, keep our eyes on, because this may be the actual deployment for a coming world war. So, got an article here. I will link in the description. First comment to the video, as always. You see the headline, NATO to launch biggest Air Forces drill in its history. So let's pull this apart just a little bit. It says here, NATO is planning to hold the largest Air Force exercise this summer. The German Armed Forces, the Bundeswehr, announced in a statement dubbed Air Defender 23. The drills are scheduled to take place between June 12th and June 24th and are expected to involve hundreds of aircraft from dozens of nations. A total of 10,000 soldiers and 220 aircraft are to be involved in the exercise, the Bundeswehr said, adding that they are to train in the European airspace. The U.S. is to supply 100 of the aircraft out of its stocks, the statement said. According to Berlin, the drills are to be held mostly over German territory, although a map published by the Bundeswehr shows that the airspace of Estonia, which borders Russia, and Romania, which borders Ukraine, could be used as well. The plan of the drills is modeled after an Article 5 assistance scenario. Okay, that means that more or less somebody attacked one of the NATO countries, and Article 5 is if one's under fire, they consider it that they're all under fire. So that's what Article 5 is. It's basically an all hands on deck, so to speak, when it comes to defense. They're calling it challenging air operations training for the participating troops. The exercise is aimed at optimizing the cooperation between the participating nations and demonstrating the strength of the military bloc. A total of 24 nations are to take part in the drills, including Finland, which only joined NATO earlier in April. Sweden, which has yet to join the bloc, will participate in the exercise too. The U.S. Air National Guard will provide around half the aircraft used in the German-led exercise in June. Its commander, Lieutenant General Michael Lowe, maintained that there is no set scenario pitting the NATO forces against a particular adversary during the drills, yet he still did mention Moscow during a briefing on the matter earlier this week. This is now putting the alliance together quickly with a credible force to make sure that if Russia ever lines up on the NATO border, that we're ready to go, he said on Wednesday. We're going to defend every inch. A similar tone was struck by the German Air Force. We won't write Russia a letter, its commander, Lieutenant General Ingo Gerhardt, had said, adding that he thinks they get the message. Goes on to say this: the drills coincide with a separate U.S.-led exercise called Defender Europe 23. This annual, nearly 2-month-long exercise is focused on the strategic deployment of U.S.-based forces, the employment of Army preposition stocks, and interoperability with European allies and partners, the Pentagon's Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh told journalists earlier this week. So, again, this is nearly a 2-month-long exercise that's actually going to kick off before the one that we had just spoke about. A total of 9,000 U.S. soldiers, along with 17,000 troops from 26 other nations, are to participate in the drills, which would take place across 10 European nations, Singh said. Washington had already started shipping the equipment needed for the exercise to Europe, she added. According to the Pentagon, the first pieces of equipment have already arrived in Spain. Some 7,000 pieces of equipment are to be transported to Europe as part of the drills. Around 13,000 other pieces of equipment are to be drawn from pre-positioned stocks, the Pentagon said. The U.S.-led exercise is to kick off on April 22nd. So that's coming up, right? That one's coming up. And I am just really kind of looking at this going, wow. So they could be setting a premise as to why all of this equipment. I know these were scheduled, this isn't like it wasn't scheduled, that they'd never talked about doing it or anything like that. It's not just totally out of the blue, but it could also be used as a way to kind of hide that we are actually putting all kinds of equipment and troops and all of that over there. I think they're gonna have their exercise, but I honestly think that they're starting to put their final chess pieces into place for this conflict. That's what I'm seeing, and that's actually the tone that I'm hearing. So we'll see what happens. But I wanted to make sure to get this out to you. Make sure to spread the word about this. These are particular time frames that we're going to want to keep a close eye on, and I know the one's going to be a near 2-month long time frame, which we don't have to sit there and analyze every day, every second, but keep an eye out on it, and especially as it starts to wrap up and stuff, we might want to keep a really close eye on it. And then, of course, this other event that's going to be kicking off in June. So anyway, I just wanted to bring this to your attention, and I look forward to seeing you tonight on the live show. Shalom.